Next on Eyewitness News this morning, breaking news in Orlando. 2 OPD officers are in critical condition after a shooting in downtown Orlando.
Officers were investigating a vehicle wanted for a homicide in Miami. During the stop, the suspect shot 2 of our officers.
We have live team coverage on the search for 2 suspects. And we'll take you live to the hospital for the latest on the condition of those officers. These stories in your complete local forecast. It's all next on Eyewitness News.
This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning. Coverage you can count on.
This is a sad day for our department. For the suspects out there, we will find you and you will be brought to justice.
An emotional statement from Orlando Police Chief Eric Smith overnight. 2 officers are now in critical condition right after a shooting in downtown Orlando last night. Good morning. It is Saturday, August 5th. I'm Shannon Butler. We first brought you this story as it was breaking on WFTV tonight at 11. Here's what we know right now. Just before 11 last night, Orlando police officers approached a car near Garland and Washington. Police say the car was connected to a homicide in Miami. Someone in that car shot and wounded the 2 officers, then carjacked another vehicle and took off. A short time later, there was a massive police presence at an apartment complex in Apopka. We saw a flatbed towing away a car matching the description of the one that was stolen right after that shooting. But so far, there is no sign of the 2 suspects police say they are now looking for. We have live team coverage on this major breaking news. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews is live at that scene in Apopka. Nick Papantonis is in downtown where the shooting happened. But first, let's go right to Channel 9's Sam Martello outside Orlando Regional Medical Center. Sam, how are those 2 officers doing this morning?
Shannon, there are 2 Orlando police officers fighting for their lives here at Orlando Regional Medical Center. Now, OPD has this road closed off in front of the hospital. There's about a dozen or so officers that have kind of been coming and going throughout the morning, but for the most part, everyone has just been staying put. Chief Eric Smith was here about 3 hours ago. It was a very quick briefing from the chief. He said his officers approached a car connected to a homicide in Miami when a suspect shot the officers. The suspect then carjacked a car and took off down I-4. He said with 2 officers being shot, now in critical condition, that this is a sad day for the department. But he also had a message for the suspects who are still out there.
We will find you and you will be brought to justice.
Now, we don't know how many times these officers were shot. All we know is that last checked, they both were in critical condition. Doctors here at ORMC performing those life-saving measures. We're hoping to get an update on their condition this morning. But in the meantime, all we can do is pray for their families and pray for this entire department. Live in Orlando, Sam Martello, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Detectives collected evidence for hours overnight in downtown, the scene of that shooting. Our live team coverage continues with Nick Papantonis in downtown, where officers first approached those suspects.
You know, the scene here near Garland and Washington has quieted down quite a bit since we first got here just before 11 o'clock tonight. You can see in the background there a couple of officers hanging around, lingering as the crime scene team does their investigation. But we want to zero in on what looks like this parking garage and actually contains the police substation. That is where this scene began. We actually had a crew inside that with police working on an unrelated story, going through the briefing with their vests on, and watching police get up and go outside the door. That is when, according to our team there, the shots started ringing out, officers rushing in immediately to render aid to the officers that were hit. Blocks of downtown Orlando here have been blocked off for a long time tonight. The scene has shrunk considerably as the hours have gone on, but this part of downtown continues to remain blocked off. Washington closed off, a few blocks of Garland closed off. We've had officers coming and going throughout the night, collecting that evidence and trying to make sure that every part of this case is buttoned up. There are no mistakes here for eventually when this gets handed off to state attorneys and prosecutors that they will have everything they need to put these guys behind bars for a long time. I want to also mention one other part about this scene here. As we are on Garland, it's right next to I-4. This is a street that people will drive up to get onto I-4, which led to that quick getaway for the suspects towards the Apopka direction, hopping on the interstate and then presumably getting off around 414 when they found a decent exit that they thought might take them somewhere far from here. We're going to continue to monitor this scene. We're going to waiting for this street to open back up, and we're waiting for any more updates from deputies and officers about their investigation. Live in Orlando, Nick Papantonis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
After the shooting, law enforcement swarmed an apartment complex in Apopka looking for the suspects. That's where Daryl Matthews picks up our live team coverage.
Yeah, on this end, there's not as many officers as it was hours ago, but it's still continuous motion going in and out of this apartment complex to search for those suspects. A couple of hours ago, we saw this black SUV being towed out of the area. We believe that is the car that was carjacked in downtown Orlando. There are several different law enforcement agencies circling the Martin Ridge apartment complex right now in vehicles and some on foot. A chopper has been circling above us in the surrounding area along with patrol vehicles. I have also seen officers searching cars through the windows with flashlights of drivers that need to get into the complex or just passing by. Overnight, we spoke with a man who lives in the complex about what he saw when officers first arrived to search for the suspects.
They also said they suspected that he ran to the woods. So they're actively, we saw police walking around with canines.
Now, as you see, officers are making a move right now. We're not too sure what's going on, but like I said, they have been circling this roundabout as well as this apartment complex, searching for those suspects. And we are paying close attention to what is going on, and we will bring you more as it unfolds from outside the Martin apartment complex. We're live in Apopka. Daryl Matthews, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Stay with Channel 9 and WFTV.com for the very latest on the search for the suspects responsible for this shooting. And we'll have live updates from the hospital on the condition of those officers. In other news this morning, Florida's government is examining a plan to reduce the number of elected prosecutors and public defenders across the state. That plan has already been met with heavy opposition. The proposal would cut the number of judicial circuits that divide Florida's court system. Some lawmakers believe the courts would be more uniform and cost efficient, but a number of prosecutors, attorneys, and judges say the plan would do exactly the opposite. They believe it would cause major disruptions and make the remaining elected officers less accountable to voters.
When it's in your house that's been burglarized, when it's your loved one that's charged with a crime, then it becomes incredibly personal. And you want to know who's making the decision on whether or not my child goes to jail.
The battle will move to Orlando. The committee considering this issue will hear public comment at the Orange County Courthouse on August 25th. A final recommendation to lawmakers is due by the end of the year. Right now, an investigation is underway after a 6-year-old boy was hurt on a Central Florida roller coaster. It happened Friday afternoon on the Galaxy Spin roller coaster at Fun Spot America in Kissimmee. Osceola County firefighters responded after someone reported that a child fell from the ride. That boy was found under the tracks of that roller coaster, which is about 20 feet high. Responders say he had traumatic injuries. Fun Spot told us the ride was inspected and found no mechanical issues and that all safety protocols were followed. In a statement, Fun Spot says, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the child and their family, and we pray for a speedy recovery." The Florida Department of Agriculture is still investigating. The ride will stay closed for now. The Mega Millions jackpot will roll over yet again as no one picked all the numbers to claim that huge jackpot. The jackpot will now grow to an incredible $1.55 billion for the next drawing, and that's on Tuesday. That would set a new record for the largest jackpot ever for the Mega Millions game. The one-time lump sum cash jackpot is $757.2 million. Last night's drawing was the 31st time the jackpot rolled over. The last winner was on April 18th for $20 million. The time now is 5:08 on this Saturday morning. We're going to take a look first at your weather. It's hot, it's rainy. I assume it's the same today.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to keep this going. We're actually going to see kind of an uptick in our rain and storm coverage. We're in the upper 70s right now with dry skies to begin the day. But what we're watching is we've got kind of this boundary just to the north of us that's going to aid in extra moisture again for today. So as we get closer towards the afternoon and into the evening hours, we will see that increase in showers and storms hitting about 93 degrees though later this afternoon. So it is going to be a hot one. And again, heat index closer to 102 to about 106 for most of us. As we head more towards the 5 to 11 o'clock hour, that's where we'll have the best chance for showers and storms. And then tomorrow, we've got another good dose of rain and thunderstorm activity headed our direction. And we're going to keep those temperatures in the mid 90s as well. Into next week, it does get even hotter. I'll have a little bit more on that coming up in my full forecast. Shannon.
We continue to follow breaking news in Orlando as police search for 2 suspects who shot 2 Orlando police officers. Here is a live look at that scene this morning from Drone 9. Coming up, we will go back live to Orlando Regional Medical Center where the 2 officers are now fighting for their lives. And next, a man bought tickets for cheap in the hopes of seeing soccer star Messi. Action 9 found out the seller was able to cancel the order once prices skyrocketed.
Drone 9, only on Channel 9 Eyewitness News, getting you closer over the scene of breaking news.
Drone 9, sponsored by StrataAC.com. You ought to call Strata.
I'm Clark Howard. Inflation is punching us in the gut, but I'm going to show you how to fight back on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Good Saturday morning, and thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Cassandra Crimmy, and our time right now, 5:13, taking you outside live over downtown Orlando. We have the muggy start to the day. Our temperatures are sitting in the upper 70s. Right now it's 79 in Leesburg and Orlando, 78 in, 78 in Sanford, and 76 degrees in New Smyrna. With a dry start to the day, we had some pretty good thunderstorms move through parts of Volusia County and Seminole County as we went through our evening yesterday. Not all of us got shower and storm activity, but we did get a good dose of some of the thunderstorms. And really what we're going to be watching is we have this area, this kind of the frontal boundary that's not going to sweep through Central Florida into South Florida. It's just that really doesn't happen this time of year, but it's going to kind of just fluctuate to the north of us. And when it dips southward, it'll send these little surges of energy. And that's what's going to help our rain chance out as we head through the weekend. Heat index today, 102 to about 107. So it is going to be a steamy one with temperatures in the 90s for most of us. I think we'll have a few communities in the upper 80s, but again, they're going to feel like it's in the triple digits anyways. Then as we take you into the tropics, not expecting any development over the next 7 days. We've got a couple of waves that we're watching. Nothing too impressive early this morning, but this is very common this time of year to see these tropical waves kind of come off the coast of Africa. Because remember, as we head through the month of August and into September, that's really when we start to see that activity start to climb for us. And we're just kind of on the front end of that. So for the rest of this month into September, we're really going to be watching those waves and how they develop kind of as they progress across the Atlantic. So we'll keep you updated if we see anything. But for now, no tropical concerns here in Central Florida. We've just got those homegrown showers and storms to deal with later this afternoon and evening with the heat. 93 degrees today. Tomorrow is actually going to be a little bit hotter. That heat index up to about 106. Could even get higher than that in some communities with a good 60% chance for storms. Shannon.
A Central Florida man scored tickets to see soccer superstar Messi when his Inter Miami team faces off against Orlando City next month. But weeks after he ordered the tickets from StubHub for a cheap price, he says the company pulled the rug right out from under him, canceled that sale, and Action 9's Jeff Deal has a look at why he didn't get the tickets and the dangers of buying tickets from a secondary marketplace. We put the full statement from StubHub on the situation on our website at WFTV.com. And if you have a tip for our Action 9 team, head to our website or check out the WFTV Action 9 page on Facebook. If you own a newer Hyundai or Kia, your car may be at risk of catching fire. More than 91,000 vehicles are being recalled due to a fire risk. The NHTSA says the fuel pump could overheat and start a fire. Companies recommend that you park your car outside away from buildings. For a full list of the cars affected, visit the web link section of WFTV.com. Well, the summer break is almost over for Central Florida students. Why this weekend is a good time to get what you need for back to school. And changes are coming to a Volusia County school. What police will do to control the students after officers were called to that school hundreds of times.
We've covered storms moving over 90 miles an hour. We don't wait until the storm is hammering down on your house.
And with our weather, you have downpours, but then you have Central Florida downpours. And we have the best technology here in Severe Weather Center 9.
Early warning Doppler 9, our local radar that we use all the time, looking at fast-moving storms, so you can take those early steps to keep your family safe.
We've got you covered coast, inland, wherever you are.
Everyone that we broadcast to, you're like our extended family. We're here to take care of you.
A full-time police officer has been assigned specifically to New Smyrna Beach Middle School for this upcoming school year. The police chief told us students at that school are becoming more violent, requiring officer intervention. As Channel 9's Demi Johnson reports, the chief says his department was called there more than 100 times last year. A new school in Orange County will welcome students next week. Yesterday, the community was given the opportunity to tour Water Spring Middle School in Winter Garden because of the rapid growth in Winter Garden's area. The middle school was established 2 years before the building was complete. For the past few years, the district used empty 12th grade classrooms at Horizon High School to house students from Water Spring Middle. Most Central Florida students will head back to school next week. Volusia County returns on Monday the 14th. Our Eyewitness News This Morning team is helping you prepare for that big return to the classroom, so make sure you catch our back to school coverage over on Channel 9 every morning. Well, we are staying on top of breaking news this morning. Next, we'll have live team coverage on the search for 2 suspects responsible for shooting and critically injuring 2 police officers in downtown Orlando.
And it is going to be another hot, steamy day, but showers and storms. Our coverage is increasing today through this weekend. I'll have more details coming up.
Early warning Doppler 9 on Channel 9 Eyewitness News. This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning. Coverage you can count on.
This is a sad day for our department. For the suspects out there, we will find you and you will be brought to justice.
An emotional statement from Orlando Police Chief Eric Smith overnight. 2 officers are now in critical condition after a shooting in downtown Orlando last night. At this hour, the search continues for 2 suspects. Good morning. It is Saturday, August 5th. I'm Shannon Butler. We are following breaking news still in Orlando, where 2 police officers are now in critical condition after a shooting in downtown. We have live team coverage spread out across Central Florida. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews is live in Apopka, where officers search for those shooting suspects. Nick's Papantonis is downtown where the shooting happened. But first, let's go right to Channel 9's Sam Martello outside Orlando Regional Medical Center. Sam, the chief said those officers are now fighting for their lives. Stay with Channel 9 and WFTV.com for the very latest on the search for those suspects. And we will have live updates from the hospital on the condition of those officers. Meanwhile, Cocoa police are looking for the person they say shot a coach during a youth football practice. It happened Tuesday night at Don Stradley Memorial Park. Police say that man punched his ex-girlfriend and then shot a coach who tried to help her. The coach shot back. He was grazed by a bullet. Police say the suspect is a convicted felon who should not have had a gun in the first place. Ballistic experts conducted a reenactment of the 2018 mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School yesterday. The test is part of a civil lawsuit against former Broward Deputy Scott Peterson. He was acquitted last month of criminal charges accusing him of not doing enough to stop the shooter. Technicians plan to record the sound of the gunfire, looking to capture what Peterson heard during that attack. Peterson has claimed he didn't hear all the shots and couldn't pinpoint where they were coming from. The crew of the International Space Station is unpacking tons of supplies today. Coming up next, the new equipment that could make space travel safer for astronauts on future missions.
And outside early this morning, it is warm. It's going to be a hot and muggy day. We've got additional showers and storms as well in the forecast. I'll be taking you hour by hour through your Saturday, all coming up.
Go back to school with Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning. From live on-the-scene coverage of breaking news to the latest on area schools, get the important news you'll need to know for the entire day ahead.
And more cars and buses means more traffic. We'll help you get there on time.
Plus a detailed forecast on how to dress the kids with weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
The major news happening right now while preparing you for what's next.
Let our team get you ready.
Channel 9 Eyewitness News this morning, live weekdays starting at 4:30 a.m.
Severe weather updates on WFTV are driven by Toyota of Orlando and Toyota of Claremont.
The time now is 5:39 on this Saturday morning. This is a live look at Port Canaveral. You can see the lights out there. It is a beautiful start to your morning. But after all, it is August. That means it will be hot and it will be rainy. Cassie, I'm just taking a shot in the dark that was right.
Stab at it. You're definitely right. We are going to see our rain chance kind of increase a little bit for us today, but outside early this morning, mid and upper 70s for us. We're dry to begin the day, but just like Shannon predicted, it's going to be hot and steamy with showers and storms this afternoon. So we're going to get to about 93 degrees today. Again, holding off on the rain through that lunchtime hour. Better chance as we get towards the late afternoon and evening hours. Really tonight, 5 to 11 o'clock, I think is going to hold our best chance for scattered showers and storms for most of the area. There will be some locations that get some of that rain a little bit before that. And also leading up to that, the heat, the mugginess is back again. We'll have heat index values 102 to 106 later this afternoon. Then as we head through the remainder of the weekend into our Sunday, we're going to keep our rain and storm chance elevated. We're going to keep the heat around. We actually get even hotter tomorrow. And as we head into next week, those temperatures climb a bit more. We're going to be getting closer and closer to some record levels, which again, we'll talk a bit more about that heat coming up in my full forecast. Shannon.
Right now, more than 8,000 pounds of new supplies and research are at the International Space Station. We showed you the docking process live during Eyewitness News yesterday morning. Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft launched from Virginia on Tuesday. Included in the cargo is the final iteration of a series of spacecraft fire protection experiments and a new potable water dispenser that provides hot water and improves sanitation. Well, big changes for an organization in Orlando coming up. How the changes will help the new Image Youth Center in Paramore help children even more. And right now, you are looking live at the scene in downtown Orlando where 2 Orlando police officers were critically injured in a shooting just about 11 o'clock last night. Crime scene technicians are out still gathering evidence in that shooting. We have live team coverage coming up later in Eyewitness News this morning. Well, an organization that helps hundreds of Paramore children now has a permanent place to call home. Drone 9 flew over where New Image Youth Center is going to move in. Channel 9's Q McCrae shows us what this means for our community. The $1 million buys the building, but it isn't enough for renovations. Heart of Florida and New Image Youth Center are hoping for matching donations from the community. They hope to tear down the current building and build a new center or add a second story to the current structure. Well, if you are headed to the beach in Brevard County this morning, you may notice 2 new lifeguard towers. One is at the boardwalk in Indy Atlantic. The other is at Spessart Holland. They're both staffed full-time by Brevard County Ocean Rescue. The time now is 5:45. You never notice those lifeguard stations until you need them, right? You're
Right,
like, oh,
exactly.
thank goodness.
Well, and Brevard County has such a huge coastline that, you know, there's not a lot of lifeguards. I know they were talking about adding a whole bunch more, so.
Nice beach day, no?
Well, hot, so there's going to be a lot of people, I think, regardless. And the first half dry, so you're not going to be dodging the showers and storms, but you will have that later in the afternoon. So just know that, that for the second half of the day, showers and storms may bring you inside because we're in the mid and upper 70s outside right now over all of Central Florida, 78 for Sanford, 77 in DeLand. A satellite and radar starting the day off on the dry side. But again, this is all going to start to shift as we take you through this afternoon. We take you northbound where we have kind of the stationary front. And this time of year, we don't get fronts moving through the area. That's more of a winter event for us here in Central Florida. But what we'll see is these boundaries nearby that kind of fluctuate to the north and south. And it's going to dip a little bit further southward as we take you through really the next couple of days and just kind of meander. And that will send these little pulses of energy, giving us that extra chance for some showers and storms. 7-day forecast of the weekend always in view. We're looking at 90s, mid 90s as we head into next week. And remember how I talked about getting hotter? We start that tomorrow, but look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday, 95 to 96 for those daytime highs. Shannon.
UCF officially joined the Big 12 at the Power 5 on July 1st, along with Houston, Cincinnati, and BYU. Now, just over a month later, 4 new universities have also joined the Big 12. Alex Walker has the details in today's Morning Sports. And here is a live look at our tower cam of downtown Orlando. It is going to be a hot and steamy day. Temperatures now in the 90s. But of course, that rain is always on the way. We will have much more on that coming up in our weather.
WFTV.com. See breaking news anytime, everywhere. Streaming live no matter what device you're on. Plus, zoom into live radar and track storms to where you live. WFTV.com is brought to you by City Kia of Greater Orlando.
Have you experienced a joyous or inspiring moment that made you feel whole and captured it on camera? Share it with us by submitting to WFTV.com/share, and we'll feature it live on Eyewitness News Saturday mornings. Feel whole moments on WFTV are brought to you by Advent Health.
If you've been waiting to finish school supplies shopping, this weekend is a good time to finish it. Tomorrow is the last day of the state's back-to-school sales tax holiday. Eligible items include school supplies that cost $50 or less, clothing $100 or less, and personal computers less than $1,500. Another sales tax holiday for school supplies is set now for January. Well, we know back to school can be a financial burden for many families. That's why 9 Family Connection has teamed up with the Hope Now Foundation once again for our Backpack-a-thon virtual school supply drive. We have made it easy for you to help. You can shop online for a backpack, including supplies, which will be given to Central Florida students in need. Visit 9family.com to shop online and make a difference in a student's life. Well, coming up in the next hour of Eyewitness News this morning, we are still monitoring breaking news in Orlando where 2 officers are fighting for their lives this morning after they were shot.
Those 2 officers are fighting for their lives at Orlando Regional Medical Center right now. We'll have the latest on their condition coming up.
And outside early this morning, it is dry and warm, but as we head through the afternoon, we're cranking the heat and bringing a good chance for rain and storms. I'll be taking you hour by hour through that chance, all coming up.
We've covered storms moving over 90 miles an hour. We don't wait until the storm is hammering down on your house.
With our weather, you have downpours, but then you have Central Florida downpours. And we have the best technology here in Severe Weather Center 9.
Early warning Doppler 9, our local radar that we use all the time, looking at fast-moving storms so you can take those early steps to keep your family safe.
We've got you covered coast, inland, wherever you are.
Everyone that we broadcast to, you're like our extended family. We're here to take care of you.